Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 468. I am Brendan. UFC Mexico, Moreno versus Erceg. This was a fight night, not a pay-per-view, but it had a pretty good, I would say, almost title fight-esque feel to it as far as like the main event goes. Those flyweights really bring it. I love seeing high-level flyweight fights. It's probably one of my favorite divisions to watch just in general. Just because of the amount of skill that's there. But that was fantastic. We're going to break down that fight. We're going to break down the rest of the fights on this main card, go through them round by round, talk about those things. And if you do like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way in the next video is coming out, and I'd really appreciate it. No more preamble. Let's get into this fight. A lot of technical stuff to break. Well, I'm not the best technical person to break things down. I tend to cover it as if I am a judge, right? A UFC judge. Or a commission judge going through these things. So I'm not going to do a technical breakdown of every single fight on the card. I will go through techniques and things like that and reasons why I think somebody won a round, this or that. But I'm not going to do the those expert analysis on like foot placement and stuff like that. I don't have the right to use those videos. I don't know how they get the right from the UFC to use those videos under fair use. I wish I could, but all my stuff's just going to get pulled. So Brandon Moreno taking on Steve Erceg. I think this was 2-6? 2-6, 2-5? Rankings don't want to load here. 2-8. 2-8. My bad. Brandon Moreno being 2. Okay, so Erceg was more active with the measuring jab. The low kicks early, Moreno using that lead hook over the glove and digging it to the body. He landed the more impactful shots. I'm probably going to repeat myself when I say that, but that's really what drove his ability to win rounds in this fight. He goes to body kicks to that same side, like that he's landing that left hook. He didn't land that as much as the fight went on. He started more just going to the head. He did mix up his strikes well, but he abandoned the digging to the body for a few rounds. Big right hand from Moreno catches him moving away. It was a really big shot. Never dropped Erceg, though. A lot of feinting from Erceg and movement from Moreno in this first round. Good round from Moreno with the bigger shots, and Erceg needs to utilize more kicks, like those low kicks, which had some success. They didn't really have an effect because he didn't go to that well very often. He needs to either do that or pick up the activity, or possibly really slip the shots that are coming back at him and just not allow Moreno to land on him. Because the thing is, you look at this first round, Erceg outlanded him 25-21. He outlanded him in damn near every round. He outlanded him in every single round. And for those people out there saying Alex Pereira should have won that fight, you should be up in arms about this one too, because it's essentially the same thing. You should go in here. I should see stats and people pulling this up about how Erceg won. I don't think that. I gave this first round to Moreno. I felt like his shots were more impactful. I felt like he did more damage in this first round, despite being outstruck. Even to the head, Erceg outlanded him 18-14. Like I said, though, those body shots, right? Moreno landed 6 of them in this round. That was the most that he landed in any round. Like I said, he started to go away from that as the fight went on and really went body and legs. Well, he went to the legs in one round. He mixed up throughout the entire fight his targets. Anyway, Erceg getting some reads on Moreno in the second round, countering better, finding that right hand, a great knee up the middle. Erceg getting, he was getting better as the fight went on in each one of these rounds with his reads. He was avoiding a lot of those big shots, but he was still just not outlanding him enough, right? Erceg, he just didn't land the bigger shots, and it felt a lot closer than that first round. Right, he did outstrike him 27-21 in this round, and I felt like a lot of people were giving him this one. I could see that. I could see Erceg getting this round. I didn't have it for him. I had it for Moreno, so I had Moreno up 20-18. Third round, Moreno starting the round, mixing up the targets really well. Erceg very steady, not a ton of instantaneous output. A lot of his output was sustained, right, throughout the entire round, constantly throwing stuff out there. That's what allowed him to outstrike him. He outstruck him in this round 20-10. Biggest differential of the fight, and it was in favor of Erceg in the third round. That being said, with 30 seconds left, I had Moreno up in this round because I felt like he did more damage again. So I had it, and Erceg didn't change my mind. I had it 30-27. Fourth round. This is a really technical fight with both guys looking to find openings. It still seems like Moreno is doing more, but Erceg might actually be landing more, is what I wrote down, because I didn't have the stats when the fight's live unless they pull them up, and I try not to let that influence my decisions anyway. But it turns out he was outstriking him. Moreno tries to get a takedown. He kind of gets it. But then the bell goes off, and then he lands a shot after the bell. I don't think he was doing it intentionally after the bell. It was just really bad timing. The bell rang, and then he threw the punch. So it was in his mind already. I'm not going to try to read too much into it. Moreno is not a dirty fighter. We have plenty of evidence of that. He is not a careless fighter either. He is I would say that he has plenty of integrity when it comes to the fight game. God dang. I helped somebody move yesterday, and they had a cat, and all their stuff is covered in cat hair, which is fine. Like, there's no problem with that. I have 2 cats as well, but all that stuff getting kicked up and going into my lungs is really messing with me. So Erceg, again, outstriking him 25-19. I just didn't have him winning this round either. Last round, Erceg needs to go, even if he's winning this round on strikes. He needs a finish in this last round, because I felt like he was doing his best damaging work in this last round, and Erceg partially lands a head kick, falls on his back, and then he ends up getting controlled for the end of the round. I think it was It was not 58 seconds. It was probably like 30 seconds he was on his back, if that. And this last round is the closest striking differential of any round, and this is the one I gave to Erceg because I felt like he landed bigger shots in this round. He did more damage. I know it seems counterintuitive if you're just looking at these numbers, but I promise you, go back and watch this. Let's look at the scorecards and see who gave what. Mike Bell, Saul D'Amato, Chris Lee all saw it the exact same way. They all gave Erceg that third round. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's okay. That was the largest striking differential, as I said, 20-10. But there was no round that was definitive for Erceg, in my opinion. Right? There was no round that was definitively his, and that was the issue. So what do we see for Erceg? 3 straight losses. I think he's, the level of competition he's facing in Pantoja for the title, Kai Kara-France, a title contender, a perennial title contender, obviously getting knocked out by him, but that's okay. And then Brandon Moreno, former champion. So he's fighting the best of the best in this division. And the problem with that is, you're essentially having title fights every single time you go out there. And if you are a generational talent, if you are an undeniable champion, if you have matchups in the top 3, top 4, top 5 even, that all benefit you, you can consistently win those fights or win them more often than not. But if you are one of those guys who is extremely skilled but still trying to find your footing in the division and looking for those matchup differentials that tend to go in your favor, and those game plans that tend to lead you to more victories against those guys, that takes some time and some practice. He's only had 16 pro fights, and 3 of his 4 losses are in the UFC, and they're all against top tier opponents. So I think he needs to take a step back, take someone in the top 15, maybe somebody in the 14, the 13 range, something like that. Maybe even somebody outside the top 10, top 15. I don't think that's where he's at talent-wise. I think that's where he needs to get some time to reevaluate his strategies, reevaluate his training practices, and I think he can be an actual, because I think he has the skills and he has the ability to be a contender. The fact that he had 5 close rounds with Brandon Moreno, essentially a champion level fighter. And the competitive fight that he had with Pantoja for the title, the Kai Kara-France fight notwithstanding, anybody can be caught at any given time. What do you do as a fighter if you're in that scenario? I think you take a lesser experienced opponent, maybe a more experienced veteran with somebody that you can win in certain ways, but you can impose your will on them. I think I love this division. I'm sorry, I'm gushing about it because I really love this division. I think it's fantastic to watch almost every single time. So We will move on. Great fight. If you did not catch this one, I do recommend it. It was relatively technical. There wasn't a lot of like slanging and banging. There wasn't a lot of drunk boxing here. It was very technical. It was a very good fight. And if you're into MMA in general, but you skipped this because it was a fight night, or you skipped it because you're busy, or whatever it might be, maybe the flyweights don't get you jazzed up. Well, then I don't know if I could help you there, but I do recommend going back and watching this fight. It was fantastic. I think it was a great showing for both guys, and it shows the potential for Erceg as well as how good Moreno still is. All right, moving on. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. The Dober just couldn't get going and then got caught. Really, that's what happened, right? Torres is winging to end the night with every single shot that he throws, every kick to the body, every punch to the head, everything he was throwing, and he landed a big shot, and Dober drops down. There was a lot of ground and pound. It looked like some of them were to the back of the head when I was watching live, but a lot of those caught the ear. My initial instinct is always to, when the shots are close to the back of the head, I don't like it, because I feel like you're playing this game where you're going to land a couple to the back of the head in the flurry, and you're going to get away with it because some of them catch the ear. So I think the carelessness of that kind of strike gets overlooked quite a bit, and I'm never a fan of it. That being said, going back and watching it, they all looked pretty clean. I have no problems with that. Good stoppage. Drew Dober didn't know where he was after the fight. He was still fighting, but he clearly was out of it. Great performance by Manuel Torres. I love Drew Dober. Hope to see him in more exciting fights. I just don't think he's ever going to be a champion. I've said that before. Edgar Chairez taking on CJ Vergara. Now this one, it just, I don't know. I don't know why it didn't get me going. Vergara was standing on the outside, going with those kicks, and Chairez going with the jabs, swinging big with the hooks and the hard low kicks, and a huge hook from Chairez puts Vergara down. He gets the rear naked face crush finish. It just didn't get me going. I think Chairez has these exciting fights, and I think he's going to be a fun fighter to watch, but he puts himself in these positions, and I feel like against more experienced fighters and somebody who's willing to be more patient and not enter and not give him those opportunities, and he's been caught before, I feel like, again, exciting fighter, going to be fun to watch, but unless he changes something, I don't think he's ever, I don't know if he's going to, be knocking on the title contention door. That's not a knock on him to say that he doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. Absolutely not. It's a fun fighter. It just, I want to see him fight a couple more times. Raul Rosas Jr. Stepping up again. I mean, here's the problem, though. The last thing you remember about this fight, the last thing I remembered about this fight, right? Okay, the last thing I remember is him basically being dominated on the ground, being stuck in chokes for a majority of it, and in fact had had Morales landed a couple more shots in one of these rounds or whatever, I think Rosas would. Rosas won this fight just by controlling. There was very little damage, very little in the way of damage after that first little flurry before he went for the takedown, and that carried to a relatively lackluster event until the last round when Morales was like, "Fuck this," and just kept going for those Peruvian neckties. Rosas with a lot of pressure, striking enough to get the attention up top, and then picking Morales up, carrying him to the center of the cage, slams him down. Excellent, fantastic, no problem there. Grappling is still awesome for Rosas. Rosas finally able to get the back and control for like 3 minutes. With 50 seconds left, though, right? Morales gets out, gets on top, gets control with 30 seconds left, gets him in a nasty Peruvian necktie to end the round, right? That could have... I was looking for more of that in the second round. The damage obviously goes to Rosas in this first round, and obviously the control time, Morales didn't even land a significant strike, 11-0. So I have a 10-9 Rosas. Second round, going 1-for-1 on the feet to start this round, both mixing it up. But here's the thing, Morales outlanded him 11-5 for significant strikes. Right? Morales finding some success, and Rosas shoots the takedown, and then he just controls him for the rest of the round. For those of you guys out there who think damage is key and damage is king, which it should be, you guys should be up in arms about this fight because Morales clearly did more here. It's just 3 minutes and 30 seconds of control time with Rosas on top, and the difference is the judging. The judging was sporadic with who they gave it to. I gave it to Rosas because I didn't feel like the damage differential was enough for me. But if you go back to an earlier fight in the night, they gave it to somebody else because they gave it to the complete opposite person in that scenario. So there's a bias when it comes to positional control. Last round, Rosas goes takedown right away, and Morales goes for that front headlock, locks up the darce, and then the head and arm choke sequence, right? Going for the darce and the Peruvian necktie. I don't know if he ever went anaconda, but Rosas, then Morales burns out his arms, but then gets back up and then ends the fight by taking, by getting him back in that Peruvian necktie. And yes, he was okay, but he was clearly a quarter of an inch, maybe a couple centimeters, right, away from finishing the fight, getting in a tight position. And Rosas was on the defense the entire time on the ground. So all this little control time that you have here, he did nothing with it. I gave this last round to Morales, and I think if they gave this last round to Rosas Jr., it is complete horse crap. So I am curious to see what they did. Good. Eric Colon, Saul D'Amato, and Chris Lee, despite their history, all gave this fight the correct scorecard. Okay, that's good. I was just looking for it because there were some fights that I'm deeply curious about. There was one that was stray 30-27 someone threw in there in a fight that we'll talk about. All right, David Martinez versus Saimon Oliveira. This Martinez dude, he's a doctor as well. He's an orthopedic surgeon, I think. Martinez full swings into the low kicks, and Oliveira shelling up with Martinez leaping in with the 1-2. So he's lunging in with these big 1-2s. Martinez is grunting every time he throws his shot. Martinez getting the better of the clinch work on the fence, separating Oliveira. He separates, even though he's controlling. He wants to get back to open striking. And then Oliveira chases him down, literally just runs, hands open, just try and grab anything to stay in the clinch. Gets back into the clinch, but then gets pushed against the fence himself. So Martinez is controlling the clinch, even when Oliveira wants to go there. And Oliveira's just doing too much standing around. One of the shots got through the guard from Martinez, and that kind of started to spell the end. Martinez drops him with a huge right hand, follows up, and puts him to sleep for a second on the ground. Martinez getting an excellent finish, looking fantastic out there. I think this was his UFC debut. No, it was not. Yes, it was. The last one was a Dana White Contender Series. Yep. Excellent fight for him. All right, let's talk about a weight miss. Ronaldo Rodriguez missing weight by a pound, which is that's ridiculous. It's bad. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. Yeah, I think all the people who missed weight this year. Have lost. Yes, they did. There's been, 7 weight misses? Oh, no, my bad. There's been 7 weight misses and only one person who missed weight won. Spoiler alert. But Ronaldo Rodriguez, has a chin, and we saw that here. He really Homer Simpson this one. It worked better in the first round, but as the fight went on, he kept taking punches and stuff. But third round wasn't bad either. Rodriguez throwing spinning kick and double jumping kicks. I don't know the name of that one where they jump and throw a round kick after it. Borjas lands a huge right hand and drops Rodriguez, and then Rodriguez coming back and landing a hard counter in the fire. Borjas is really looking for that right hand as he evades most of the attacks coming back at him, and there it is again. Borjas knocks him down and then landing again. Rodriguez backing up. Rodriguez turning into a wrestler for the last 45 seconds, and Borjas defending well until 10 seconds left. Didn't really do anything with that takedown. Borjas dropped him multiple times. If he doesn't give this round, it would be criminal. 10-9 Borjas. So Rodriguez gets him to the fence and tries that big hook, and Borjas is currently getting away and sometimes countering, right? So every time that Rodriguez would push him to the fence, he would open up and throw something really big, and then Borjas would evade it, right? Evade it and sometimes counter. And then, god dang, Borjas is landing that right hand, and Rodriguez has a crazy chin for the amount of damage that he took. Rodriguez going for the takedown again with 3 minutes left, does not get it, and he's taken way too many shots to the head. He got outstruck in that first round 17-10, and this round he got outstruck 23-17. Clearly 20-18 going into this third round. Borjas is so clean with those exchanges. Good head movement, great shoulders and hands on the slips, using that modified Philly shell. Closer round in this last round, but Borjas is landing the cleaner shots again down the stretch and outstrikes him 43-37. Clearly a 30-27 for Borjas, in my opinion. Looking at the scorecards, I am curious. Vladimir Puga gave that second round to Rodriguez. The other two guys had it correct. Eric Colon and Saul Diamato, so good for them. All right, that is it for the main card. The next video I'll put out is going to be the prelims. Thank you guys for stopping by. It means a lot to me. If you did like this thing, subscribe to the channel. That way you know the next video is coming out, and I'd really appreciate it. And if you hit the like button, I also appreciate that too. I really do appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I love y'all. Peace.